If you are a subscriber to my channel, then you know how much I enjoyed the superhero TV shows from the 70s. I've talked about my love for Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, Captain America, and Shazam, just to name a few. But until now, I haven't talked much about the Incredible Hulk.
Premiering Friday after Wonder Woman, it's the all-new Incredible Hulk. A radiation experiment has unleashed the ultimate mutation, turning David Banner into a superhuman beast whenever he becomes angered. Bill Bixby stars in The Incredible Hulk, premiering Friday at 9, 8 Central and Mountain.
And boy, oh boy, did I love this show. Don't get me wrong, Lou Ferrigno was great, but it was this guy, Mr. Bill Bixby. He was the main reason why I watched the show, and why I believe the show was such a great success. However, before I talk at length about Bill Bixby, let me introduce myself. Hi folks, my name is Dave Sundstrom, and I like to think of myself as something of a pop culture historian, especially when it comes to music, movies, and television. Simply put, I love talking about this stuff. So with that said, let's get rolling. As a reminder, I'm going off my memories here, so I'm not going to mention everything that the guy's been in. I'm looking for all of you to fill in the blanks, the stuff that I leave out in the comments section. And while this isn't the first thing that I remember Bill Bixby guest starring in, from a chronological standpoint, this is a very early appearance that I enjoy watching whenever I get a chance to catch it. During the second season of The Andy Griffith Show, Bill did a great job of playing Ronald Bailey, a very wealthy and very spoiled young man who thinks that he's got everything figured out. Well, until he runs into Mayberry Sheriff Andy Taylor. Right after this appearance, Bill was cast in a TV show that would become something of a pop culture event. Yep, I'm talking about My Favorite Martian, co-starring the great Ray Walston. Speaking of memories, I've got to mention that I absolutely loved Walston's turn as Mr. Hand in the movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High. That scene with Spicoli and the in-class pizza delivery, well, it's Hollywood comedy gold. Anyway, getting back to My Favorite Martian, for me, I have memories of the show in reruns, and for some strange reason I ended up with a handful of Gold Key comics. They were all pretty beat up, if I remember correctly. I can't remember where I got them, but they were fun to read and provided a nice intro to the show until I was finally able to see it in syndication later on. In an earlier version of this video, frequent channel commenter Perry Dowd mentioned that Bill Bixby played a ghost hunting head of paraphysics for some unnamed New England university in an episode of the TV version of The Ghost and Mrs. Muir. The movie version of The Ghost and Mrs. Muir is one of my all-time favorites. You absolutely must see it if you've never caught that movie. It's so great. And the TV show, well, it's not bad either, and you can catch most of the episodes right here on YouTube. And if you haven't seen this one, well, you should. The entire cast of that show, by the way, including Hope Lang, Edward Mulhare, Rita Shaw, and Charles Nelson Riley, they're really, really good. Not long after that appearance came the courtship of Eddie's father.
Tina, you are in love with your boss. She looks like a mother type.
But she's not a mother type?
I don't think so.
Eddie Tries Again, every week on ABC.
Beginning in 1969, the show ran for 3 seasons on ABC. I vaguely remember watching an episode or two of this show, but it wasn't my favorite. Although even then, as a young boy, I recognized that there was something very special about Bill Bixby. If I had to try to pin it down, I'd say it's that there was a real, genuine earnestness to him. Yeah, and he seemed super kind. As I reflect back, that might be his talent. He just seemed like a really good guy, and it seemed real. Now here's where Bill Bixby really caught my attention for the first time as a young boy. The TV show was The Magician. It only ran for 1 season, but for whatever reason, my dad loved this show and would watch it religiously each week. And because he watched it, so did I. In The Magician, Bixby starred as Tony Blake, a professional stage magician who used his skills to solve crimes and help the helpless. He was a superhero who dealt in magic and, even better, was able to escape from any type of trap that might get in his way. On the show, Tony was famous, and he traveled the world in his own personal luxury jet, as well as he had some pretty cool sports cars. Why this show didn't last longer, I'll never know. It really was well done, but that's okay, I guess, because not long after that show was canceled came this wonderful motion picture from the fine folks at Disney. Now, even without Bixby, I was bound to love this movie because it featured one of the all-time great comedic duos of Conway and Knotts. See The Private Eyes or The Prize Fighter if you have any questions at all about that claim. But having Bill Bixby on board as a slick gambler named Russell Donovan who gets conned into watching over some kids, well, that was just the icing on the cake. And as those who have seen the sequel, The Apple Dumpling Gang Rides Again, can attest, the movie really needed Bill. Just as much as it needed Don and Tim. Bixby's absence in the sequel can be chalked up to perhaps the greatest role of his career. Yep, I'm talking about The Incredible Hulk. Bixby starred as tormented scientist David Bruce Banner. In the comics and later movies, his name is Robert Bruce Banner. Not sure the reason for the name change, but I'm sure there was some sort of reason. Maybe Kenneth Johnson and team wanted to distinguish this Dr. Banner from the comic book version. By giving him a slightly different name, maybe it felt more grounded in reality. I don't know, just speculation. The Incredible Hulk was introduced to TV audiences in the form of a couple of TV movies. After that came the series. It ran for 5 seasons on CBS, Friday nights. While my friends were out partying, I was home watching television. And you know what? I don't regret it for one moment. Bixby's Banner was such a sad, forlorn fellow. He'd lost his wife, and really his whole life due to his experiments with gamma radiation, and now he just wanted to be left alone. He had a huge, big, green inner demon that he was always trying to suppress, and well, if you're a fan of the show, you know that he was often on the losing end of that battle. Banner, as played by Bixby, was the kind of guy that you could really root for. And that darn Jack McGee, man, did he really get my goat.
Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Little bit of trivia. The opening narration for the show was provided by actor Ted Cassidy, who was well known for his work on The Addams Family, and well known by Dave Sundstrom for his work as Bigfoot on The $6 Million Man. On the premiere of Season 2, actress Mariette Hartley shows up for this very special 2-hour episode of The Incredible Hulk. Hartley, of course, was famous for her television commercials with James Garner hawking Polaroid cameras. Anyway, Hartley plays an ailing hypnotherapist, Dr. Carolyn Fields, who just maybe is the link to a possible cure for Banner's Hulkouts. Banner, on the other hand, has been doing some DNA research that may be able to help cure the hypnotherapist. They eventually come to depend on each other, and love blossoms among the beauties of Hawaii. There are some scenes in this episode that are so emotional, so profoundly moving. Whenever I watch this episode, I've got to admit the tears flow. And a lot of that has to do with the great acting and amazing chemistry between Bixby and Hartley. After The Incredible Hulk ended its run in 1982, CBS decided that they needed to further leverage that chemistry, and the end result was a sitcom about the rocky relationship between 2 news anchors on a Boston TV station. The show only ran for 18 episodes across a couple of seasons, but it was a fun show. I caught a handful of episodes during its initial run, and I can vouch for the fact that the chemistry was still there. It was on Goodnight Beantown that Bixby would start directing. And it turns out that Bill loved being behind the camera as much as he did being in front of it. Although Bill Bixby would make additional TV appearances during his later years, most notably for a couple of Hulk TV movies, he primarily worked as a director after Goodnight Beantown was canceled. While his work with Mayim Bialik on her sitcom Blossom would earn him accolades within the industry, it was the relationship that he built with Bialik and the rest of that cast that would really earn him the admiration of everyone who interacted with him during this phase of his career. It turns out that being nice thing, well, it wasn't an act at all. He was the real deal. Sadly, Bill Bixby passed away in 1993 from prostate cancer. He had just wrapped up an episode of Blossom 6 days earlier. He wanted to be surrounded by friends, so Bill worked up until the very, very end. That's just the kind of guy that Bill Bixby was. Alright, one last picture, Dr. David Bruce Banner, the lonely guy, always in search of a home. Man, Bixby was the best. He really was. Thank you so much for watching.